Let's go over Gemini land and talk about what's happening with the Winklevi-owned exchange. According to their own updates, the exchange went offline for a few hours in order to do some updates and maintenance on the exchange's backend. This, of course, follows after they shut down withdrawals for the Gemini Earn program because of Genesis Trading's own shutdown of withdrawals stemming from its exposure to the FTX exchange, which went under. So we got a lot to unpack there, but more or less, a lot of people are worried about Gemini because of its exposure to FTX. And whenever it goes offline, even for just a period of maintenance, people are going to start asking questions. Zach, I want to throw this one up to you. I don't think there is a ton here besides sit and wait, because we're all basically waiting on seeing what happens with Genesis Trading.
A lot of jitters, a lot of dominoes, a lot of FUD out there. I think this is a story about that. It was down for 7 hours. People were like, oh no, is this the next one to fall? Sure enough, it's not. Yet, at least. We're not here to FUD what has been a long and upstanding piece of the crypto ecosystem for a while now. But when stuff happens like this, in times like these, people maybe rightly get a little bit worried and start freaking out a little bit and doing things that are probably animated by the fear of losing their funds. So strange things happen in crypto. People do lose their funds when massive exchanges go insolvent. This doesn't appear to be one of those cases, but it makes sense that people would be acting with extreme caution in the current market condition, the way we've seen all these titans tumble. So yeah, this is what happens when people are worried and you see stories like this where there's a 7-hour outage, people assume the worst, and you just kind of wait and see. That's it. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. Adam, you got anything?
That was calming.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Zach.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
It is not,
appreciate it.
So yeah, I think that this isn't much of a story here. Again, like it just shows the kind of sentiment that's going on in the space right now, and just like concerns abound everywhere you look, and anything that happens that, you know, can be interpreted in a way that might be negative is being interpreted such. Even with that said, though, I think that it is worth noting that like the way that both these things collapse and also the way that you protect yourself sometimes are connected together. What exchanges describe as a run on the bank sometimes, as in the SBF example, is actually just people taking money that they didn't know that they had in a bank, that they thought that was theirs on an exchange, pulling it out and showing that actually there are liquidity or insolvency problems within the resulting thing. So I mean, my guidance would be, to the extent that anybody is concerned about the tokens that you have anywhere in any centralized, you know, entity, you can always just pull them out, and then worst case scenario, you catalyze the collapse. But you know, like, I don't know, I kind of feel like that's an appropriate way to take, and that, you know, companies that have these problems and are hiding them, like, I don't have a problem with applying pressure to them in that way, where it's not like you're not trying to collapse an exchange. You're literally just withdrawing your tokens from it because that's a thing that you can do. Like, that seems like that's probably the advised thing for folks who are nervous out there today. Again, to the extent that you can. Probably bad advice for the crypto industry, but I think good advice on an individual basis. Jen, what do you think?
I like that advice, Adam. Protect yourself. So I'm not a Gemini customer. I wasn't an FTX customer, but I can only imagine the PTSD that people who had funds on FTX and maybe have funds with Gemini feel when they see an announcement like this, right? Especially given the current climate. I think we need to just come back a little bit and remember that exchanges do go down for maintenance often, especially now we're in a bear market. There have been a lot of layoffs across the board. Sometimes these maintenance, the maintenance takes longer than expected. So not fudding, but yes, the PTSD is real, especially every time I read a story like this. I think back to SBF's tweet from November 7th that said, "Your assets are fine. Everything is fine," that he later deleted. And so I don't want to scare people out there, but Adam's advice is great. If you are afraid, just hold your own coins and wait out this turbulent time.